I really don't feel like recording a podcast right now, which is why I want to record a podcast right now. I want to see what happens if I remove all thought. Oh, that shows you how tired I am. I have no idea what I guess I'm trying to strip away thinking too much. So if I record this podcast while I'm tired, maybe something will come to me that would not have come to me if I were alert and conscious. Which is probably the worst way to do a podcast. What I should be doing is I should be plotting out exactly what I want to say in the podcast and then executing that plot with perfection. With perfection. The word perfection is really the perfect word for the word perfection. That just occurred to me. I mean, it really describes, just the sound of it, perfection. It could only be, perfection could only be the word that describes perfection. It couldn't be glob. That couldn't be. Glob couldn't mean perfect. How did he do on the score? It was glob. How did he do on the test? Glob score. Glob score. Nothing wrong. Nothing against glob as a word. Glob has its place. It serves its purpose. But perfection. Looking at my ceiling right now, and I'm suddenly seeing the outline of a gun, which is concerning to me. Why I'm seeing a gun in the ceiling. Of all the images, why is that popping out? Do I have guns on the mind? I've never shot a gun. Never held a real gun. No desire to. Yeah, I've no desire to shoot a gun. Hopefully never be in a situation where I would need to shoot a gun. Unless I guess I was starting a race, but I wouldn't want to be in that situation either. I mean, I definitely wouldn't want to be in a situation where I had to defend myself using a firearm. Definitely, that would be horrible. If I had to choose between being in a situation where I had to defend myself with a firearm and a situation where I was starting a race, I would obviously choose starting a race, but neither are that great. I don't know why I would be in a situation where I would need to start a race. I mean, that just sounds... I have to drive somewhere. They give me this pop gun. It's going to screw up my ear. Just the thought of it makes me even more tired. Why am I at the race? I don't like watching races. It would probably be some kind of a charity race. But that would mean I'd have to be successful. That's the advantage of not being successful, is that nobody asks you to start off a charity race. There's a lot of freedom in that. I gotta say, I make fun of IKEA a lot, but the lamp I have from IKEA, it's still hanging in there. I've owned it now, I think 10 years. It's still working. It's just not standing up straight, but it's still working. And maybe that's IKEA's motto. IKEA, it's, it'll work. That should be the IKEA. It's furniture. IKEA, yeah, it's a lamp. Is it the perfect lamp? Is it perfection? No, but it's a lamp. It'll get you where you need to go. I have a space heater right now. You might be able to hear it in the background, and the space heater is the greatest thing to happen to me in the last 5 years. This space heater is All I'm saying is if a guy in Japan can marry a hologram, I can marry a space heater. That should be fair. That should be legal. That's all I'm saying. What am I going to do the rest of my night? Long day. Got home late. Would like to do more, but feeling tired. Ugh, I could eat. I'm not even hungry and I could eat. Which is bad for me. Now I'm yawning. The yawn. Designed to, I think, bring in more oxygen. I'm not sure. A lot of animals yawn. Yawning is a thing. There's a scientific reason why yawning is a thing. I could look it up, but I'm just too tired to. Oh, alright, I'll look it up. Let's look it up. Let's look it up. Let's learn things. I'm going to go to Wikipedia. This is how nice I am. In the middle of my podcast, I'm looking up yawning so that you, as the listener, don't have to look it up yourself. A yawn is a reflex consisting of the simultaneous inhalation of air and the stretching of the eardrums, followed by an exhalation of breath. Yawning, or oscitation. Ooh, I like that. Excuse me, I was in the middle of an oscitation. Could you slow up there, please? Thank you. Yawning most often occurs in adults immediately before and after sleep, during tedious activities, and as a result of its contagious quality. It is commonly associated. It is commonly associated. Here's what just happened. There was a cord on the bed, and I moved it, and I thought it was a insect, and I freaked out. So I totally ruined the. I'm totally ruining the explanation of yawning. Totally threw that off. I want to apologize to my podcast listeners, of which there are either 0 or 1. Anyway, yawning. Commonly associated with tiredness, stress, sleepiness, or even boredom and hunger. Hunger. I've never heard of that before. Yawning when they're hungry? Is that a thing? I don't think I've ever yawned when I was hungry. People yawn when they're hungry. It's interesting, and just talking about it is making me yawn. I've never yawned when I was hungry. I don't buy that. In humans, yawning is often triggered by others yawning, and is a typical example of positive feedback. This contagious yawning has also been observed in chimpanzees, dogs, cats, birds, and reptiles, and can occur across species. So if I'm yawning, a chimpanzee might yawn as a result. Approximately 20 psychological reasons for yawnings have been proposed by scholars, but there is little agreement on the primacy of any one. So I guess the purpose of a yawn is to... what? Did it say the reason why? Causes. One study states that yawning occurs when one's blood contains increased amounts of carbon dioxide and therefore becomes in need of an influx of oxygen. Another proposal points out that animals subject to predation or other dangers must be ready to physically exert themselves at any given moment. At least one study suggests that yawning, especially psychological, contagious yawning, may have developed as a way of keeping a group of animals alert. So yawning makes me more alert to being attacked. Yawning is a defense mechanism. We are here today because our ancestors yawned. So if you're boring the the crap out of me and I'm yawning, I'm defending myself. I like that. I enjoy that. I enjoy that theory. I'm not, I'm defending myself against The Godfather when I yawn. And yes, I'd said it. I find that I was bored. I said it. I know, that's a horrible thing to say. I'm committing blasphemy by saying that I was bored by The Godfather. I recognize that if I had to choose between watching The Godfather and Highlander 2, I would choose Highlander 2 every time. And that says a lot about me. I'm not saying I'm right. I'm just reporting to you how I feel. I am not saying that what I feel is perfection. It's closer to glob, but it's my truth.